Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is an SU-152. It's a Tier 7 Soviet tank destroyer. It's located on the south spawn of Malinovka, and it's under the command of Potatoes Gonna Killed. Now this beast is armed with a 152mm howitzer. It's the ML20, and it's actually capable of doing 910 alpha with HE, penetrating 86mm of armour. And with the heat rounds, it's capable of doing 700 alpha and penetrating 250mm of armour. He's not carrying any armour piercing rounds, but if he did, he could penetrate through 135mm and do 700 alpha as well. And he's gone up to the house straight away to take a blind shot at the bush, the spotting bush. He fires a round in. The IS-3 was very lucky to get out of the way of that shell before it went through, but there's nobody in the spotting bush, because otherwise he would have had a kill. And he's pulling back for another attempt. Nope, nobody at home. Okay, so he's had his first attempt. Oh, the T-43 next to him's just been set alight. And there is a Type 64 somewhere over there, because he just hit Potatoes in the tracks. And unfortunately, the T-43 just got killed by Noobs. He fires one last round. Is he going to change position? He's just going in to get a blind shot, to get his bearings. Long reload. Oh, changes position. There's an SU-152 Tier 7 Soviet tank destroyer. A different kind. And that guy dies. He got 448 hit points off that guy, though. Only not a full amount. Okay, we can see a Skoda T25 up there as well. Just circling his reticule to see if he can get it on target. Can't see the outline of the vehicle. He fires blind anyway. Doesn't get a kill. Now, you don't get a whole lot of ammunition in this vehicle, so you have to be careful with your rounds. You only get 32 rounds in the with the 122, but with the SU-152 you only get 26 rounds of ammunition. And that's true because in reality and historically the SU-152 could only carry 20 rounds of ammunition because the casement was fairly low, and there wasn't a lot of space inside for the crew and the gun. It is, after all, a howitzer that's mounted horizontally. In fact, this vehicle was designed and based as a heavy assault SPG that sometimes became used as a tank destroyer instead. In fact, it actually got a nickname. It was called Ziriboil. That's it, Ziriboil. And that means beast in Russian. And the reason they called it that was because it was a beast killer. It used to kill the German cat tanks. They found that when they used this tank against German Tigers and Panthers, they would literally obliterate them. In fact, the Soviets captured a Tiger tank and tested this vehicle against it and blew the turret off, clean off the vehicle. Bit of a waste of a Tiger tank, you might say, but they had to have some tests to see exactly what this thing could do. He tried a snapshot at the Type 64, didn't get it. He had to pull in because that Skoda was there. Now, you don't get a lot of armour on this vehicle. The armour is only 75mm at the front, and it's sloped at an angle of 12 degrees. And that's actually quite low compared to a KV-1. Gets around into the side of the Caro. And he's gone. And on the sides and the rear it's even worse actually, because the side armour is only 60mm thick. And although Wargaming have made the rear of this vehicle 60mm as well, it actually in reality only had 30mm. It was very thin at the rear. All the armour was basically at the front. Oh! Type 64 felt that one. That was a definite penetration. So he's got his first kill. He has fired an awful lot of blind shots though at the enemy. And that Skoda's moving in. Lines up the shots. Oh! The Skoda was killed just before he was about to fire. That was a certain kill if he got it on target. But unfortunately, the kill was taken away from him by the IS-3. Now, the idea of actually building this tank destroyer, or this assault gun I should say, was that the Soviets needed a vehicle that they could use to knock down bunkers. And so they came up with this idea of using a KV-1 hull. In fact, this is the last of the KV-1s, you could say, or KV-built tanks, that is. They used a KV-1 hull, just took the turret. Oh, he just got a blind kill! He just killed a steering mill. Blind shot into the bush, and there was somebody there, and he's laughing. Yeah, I think his teammates laughed at that one as well. Basically, it's a KV-1 without the turret, and that saved the Soviets quite a lot of money to build. It's got the same V2K engine, 12-cylinder, 4-stroke diesel, so it's actually quite an efficient use of material. And all they had to do was build a casement around the gun, which was slightly offset to the right to allow the gunner a little bit of room to aim the gun. Now, it was originally known as Object 236 or the KV-14, but when they actually built it, they called it the SU-152, and it got the nickname the Beast, the serial boy, after so many tanks were killed in Operation Citadel. That was the Battle of Kursk. It was very effective. They built 704 of these, and they didn't build any more because they switched instead to the ISU-152, which is based on the IS series of tanks. They stopped making the KV-1 in 1943 and started building KV-1Ss instead. Slightly different hulls, slightly different chassis. Now, this thing carries 600 litres of fuel inside the vehicle. Most of it was in the engine bay area, and there was also a fuel tank inside the casement with the crew. And it's got 4 sets of drums on the back, which were connected to the main fuel tanks, but they could be switched off, and that they carried another 360 litres of diesel. So it had quite a big range as a tank destroyer. The way that it actually killed enemy tanks was it didn't actually penetrate them. What it actually did, it shook them to death. Some of the enemy tanks that were literally hit by the shells disintegrated under the impact. And if it hit a heavy tank, it would either jam the turrets, knock out the gun, or it would do so much damage to the crew inside that there was nobody left to operate it. And you can see Potato's going to kill, loves doing blind shots on enemy bushes. I think he's looking for that UDES, the one that hit him earlier in the game. They're one tank up on the enemy at the moment, but the enemy seems to have the hill, or at least the top of the hill. And you can see the SU-100M1 and SU-130PM went up north, and unfortunately we just lost the SU-100M1 to that UDES, so he's somewhere over there in the bushes. We just can't see him. That one went into the trees. Yeah, the enemy's coming down the hill, so we need to pick up position. I wouldn't go too far forward though, because my big concern is this tank destroyer doesn't have a whole lot of armor, so you really need some cover to shoot at the enemy, and there's an awful lot of heavy tanks coming down the hill. He's trying to dial in on them, but they're so far away, right at the edge of his view range, it's difficult to get them onto the target, especially when they're moving at that speed, and the shell is very slow. He fires the round in and moves forward to the bushes. He's firing the heat rounds now. I think he's a little too close to those bushes for the bush mechanic to work. Oh, that one worked. Oh, but he was seen, and oh, the rounds are starting to come in. Yeah, and 75mm of armour at any angle is not going to stop rounds from the Carnarvon and the ARL and the Tiger 1 from hitting him. Carnarvon's gone into a dip. There's a Tiger 1 to his right. He needs to pay attention to that guy. Can't see him. Oh, he's got his teammate in the SU-130 PM behind him, shooting past him at the enemy. And he's just seen a box tank to his right, to his left rather. There they are. They're using the dip in the ground to get closer to him. And now he's got another tank, a Peter, creeping up on him lakeside. He's in a bad position here. We just lost the M44. The Tiger got him. And he's been tracked now. ARL's making a move. Oh, lovely kill. 733 hit points. But the Tiger finishes him off. Yep. The beast that the beast killer used to kill, killed the beast. Yeah, unfortunately. Sadly, the armour on the SU-152 is not good. It's fairly poor, and the same is true for the ISU-152K, or ISU-152 for that matter. And now we're following the SU-130 PM, who's the last member of his team. And we know the enemy's approaching. We just simply can't see them at the moment. Here comes the Peter. Gets a nice amount of damage off the Peter. Oh, and gets nuked and killed by the Tiger 1. So sadly, this one is a defeat. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Despite the defeat, Potatoes Gonna Kill actually got his second mark of excellence in this game, as well as an ace tanker. He certainly did enough damage. He was a bit disappointed that he died at the end, but there again, he did perform very, very well. He also got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 13. A Duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him. A Fire for effect for doing more damage to hit points to his own vehicle. And look at this, he got the high caliber in that game. He did the most damage in the game overall, even better than the enemy players. So let's have a look at team score and see where he came. Well, he's top of the table when it comes to damage with 4,667. The next high scorer was Carnarvon with 4,167, followed by the UDIS 03, 2,070. When it came to kills, he shared the second place because the Tiger 1 managed to get 5 kills, and then Potatoes Gonna Kill got 3 along with the Carnarvon and the UDIS. And when it came to base XP, well, it's the Carnarvon who did the best with 1,152. The Type 64 that he blew apart managed to get 1,015. Presumably he was doing quite a lot of spotting. Yes, he did 2,916 hit points of spotting. And after that, it was Potatoes Gonna Kill with 863. So he got the third place on base XP. He fired 21 rounds in that game, got 7 direct hits and 5 penetrations, so he only had 5 rounds left at the end of the game. He also got 2 splash damage as well on the enemy. 4,667 hit points of damage, of which 2,982 were at more than 300 meters. He received 7 hits from the enemy, 4 of them penetrated, 3 non-penetrations, and 390 hit points of damage blocked by armor. He spotted 3 enemy vehicles, damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 3 of the enemy, and did 492 hit points of damage assistance. On a premium count, he earned 42,574 credits, got 3,557 from the Achievements Award. That's for getting a Battle Hero medal or an Epic medal in a losing or drawn game. It was a Battle Hero medal in a losing game. 69,197 credits altogether. After repair and ammunition resupply, he ended up with 35,963 credits profit. 863 XP, 477 for the Achievements Award, and took away 2,010 experience points altogether. So good performance by Potato Skinner Killed. Unfortunately, at the end of the game, instead of actually driving towards the enemy, he might have been better off if he'd actually joined the SU-130PM at the water's edge and forced the enemy to come towards him rather than hiding in the bushes, because unfortunately he had tanks on every side of him. The Tiger was to the right of him, the ARL and the Carnarvon were in front of him, the box tank was to his left, as well as the Peter, so he was being surrounded. If he stayed where he was much longer without being killed, I think, well, one of them would have got him eventually. But it was a nice try. He did do the most damage in the game, and congratulations to him for that. So if you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.